This video was made possible thanks to the support of our fantastic patrons. You guys are truly awesome.
Don't forget that you can support the channel for free and receive 10% off orders over $10 at Flipside Gaming by using the promo code Affinity at the checkout. Or if TCG Player is more your thing, then be sure to use our affiliate link in the video description.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Best in the Multiverse, brought to you by Affinity for Commander. My name is Alex.
And my name is Martin.
And today, as we count down the best Esper coloured commanders, we are joined by a very special guest.
Hello everyone, my name is BT. I am the host and occasional commander player over at EDH Commander Challenge, and it's an absolute honor and a privilege to join Alex and Martin for today's countdown. You guys ready?
Number 5.
At number 5 we have a Master of Metalwork and Animator of Automatons, Sidri, Galvanic Genius. For 1 white, 1 blue and 1 black, Sidri is a 2/2 legendary human artificer. She reads, for 1 blue, target's non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power and toughness equal to its converted mana cost until the end of turn. And for 1 white and 1 black, target artifact creature gains Death Touch and lifelink until the end of turn. Now a good Sidri deck has to be extremely artifact heavy to make the most of her abilities, but we can use our Artificer's power in a lot of interesting and powerful ways. The most obvious use of her ability is turning your mana rocks into creatures, allowing you to get some cheeky damage in during the early game. Or alternatively, you can create blockers at instant speed when you no longer have use for those signets, and can even take down the blocked creatures by giving your rock Death Touch. Another neat little trick of Sidri is to circle around crewing costs by turning your vehicles into creatures without crewing them for only 1 blue mana. Cards like Porhelion 2, Sky Sovereign Console Flagship and the Weatherlight are all fantastic additions to the deck, with those combat triggers really adding some power to the deck. Just remember that Sidri will animate the vehicles with power and toughness equal to their CMC, not what's printed in the lower right corner of the card. This is definitely an improvement for cards such as Porhelion 2, with the card retaining all of its keywords in this state as well. Now if you want to be an absolute monster, then we have some includes for you. Play Microsynth Lattice, then proceed to turn all of your opponent's lands into 0/0 creatures, instantly killing them. Speaking of absolute degeneracy, Caltrops is a rather unique and quite frankly bad card. However, upon being turned into a creature and given Death Touch, it has the power to kill any attacking creature before they get to deal damage. Absolutely filthy. But even without horrific card synergies, simply being an Esper and playing artifacts is already a powerful basis for a deck. Sidri's got access to a huge range of win conditions such as the classic Thopter Sword combo with Thopter Foundry and Sword of the Meek. You've got the tutoring power of Tribute Mage, Fabricate and Whir of Invention, just to name a few. Heck, even just straight up value like Sharum the Hegemon, who, spoiler, sadly did not make it into this list, Siremaster Thopterus, or literally any of the Tezzerets. And these are the factors that give Sidri her number 5 spot: versatility, a low mana cost, and a well supported theme. Maybe it's the Breya player in me, but I just can't get enough of it.
Number 4.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall during an MTG card creation meeting. As for this choice, it feels like someone picked up a copy of Mindslaver, read the effect and said to his coworker, "I don't think we can make a stronger effect for a card than this." To which the coworker replied, "Hold my beer." And thus, the Sen Triplets were born. Sen Triplets is a 3/3 legendary artifact creature human wizard with a casting cost of 2 generic and the colors of Esper. It carries the following effect. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. This turn, that player can't cast spells or activate abilities and plays with their hand revealed. You may play cards from that player's hand this turn. Your opponent will have 3 mindsets upon seeing this as your commander. 1. Kill it with fire. 2. Use up their entire hand before it comes out. And 3. Don't forget 1 and 2. Because having access to your opponent's resources as well as your own is quite powerful, and being able to do this on each turn can either put you on the fast track to victory or being public enemy number 1. On top of being able to use their hand to your advantage, you can use cards like Bribery, Praetor's Grasp, Acquire, and Gonti, Lord of Luxury, to net you access to important cards from their deck. While cards like Blatant Thievery, Mass Manipulation, and Hostage Taker can give you access to many permanents on their field. You can even make use of their graveyard by pillaging it with Memory Plunder, Diluvian Primordial, Sepulchral Primordial, and Mnemonic Betrayal. While I love the flavor text on this card, the text should have been, "What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine too."
Number 3. She's 3 mana, a planeswalker, combos well, and will definitely give you nightmares if you stare too long. Coming in at our number 3 spot is Minato, the Fate Shifter. For 1 white, 1 blue, and 1 black, Minato is a planeswalker who enters with 3 loyalty counters. Her abilities are +1, draw a card, then put a card from your hand on top of your library. -1, exile another target permanent you own, then return to the battlefield under your control. And her -6, choose left or right. Each player gains control of all non-land permanents other than Minato the Fate Shifter, controlled by the next player in the chosen direction. Let's get something straight right off the bat. Minato is probably the only commander on this list with a fairly solid turn 4 kill. All you need is Minato, which is pretty easy considering she's in the command zone, Felidar Guardian, and Altar of the Brood. Because no format can exist that is not solidly tainted by this darn cat. But moving on to strategies a little further down the power scale, Minato can just be a massively powerful commander in her own right, without any feline help. Minato can simply function as her pre-constructed deck's title stated, to make the top card of your library matter. Manipulating your deck so the cards with miracle costs, such as Terminus, Temporal Mastery, and Devastation Tide, are guaranteed first draws of the turn, makes these spells way more powerful than they otherwise should be. Why yes, I would like an extra turn for 2 mana, and the timing is most convenient for me. Thanks, Wizards. And I know a lot of people were down on Entreat the Dead, but I personally love it. After all, it helps get back all the absurd ETB creatures we have, which segues nicely into the meat of the deck. Noxious Gearhulk, Ravenous Chupacabra, and Cataclysmic Gearhulk serve as great removal, which can then be flickered with Aminato's -2 ability. Rune, you've been replaced. And for only 3 mana as well. Now that's adding insult to injury. Sorry, I'll show myself out. Or how about cards like Sharoom, still not on the list, Agent of Treachery, Rune-Scarred Demon, or a personal favourite of mine, Sepulchral Primordial. All of which make for great flicker targets. This way you can just pile on the Esper good stuff. All aboard the value train. Next stop, No Friends City. Population, you. But if you want to see in more detail why I think Minato is so good, then feel free to check out our deck take on her. There will be a pop-up on screen and a link in the description. Now, on to the next. Number 2.
I like my MTG characters how I like my men. Tall, shredded abs, and able to manipulate the forces of life and death. Luckily for me, our number 2 pick ticks all 3 boxes. Alluro is a 4/5 legendary giant soldier for 3 generic, 1 white, 1 blue, and 1 black. He reads, at the beginning of your upkeep, gain 2 life. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card and each opponent loses a life. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if Alluro Ageless Ascetic is in the command zone, you gain 2 life. Back when Wizards were beginning to get to grips with the greatest format ever, they began to experiment with mechanics that revolved around and could be used from the command zone. Alluro's ability to gain 2 life during your upkeep from the command zone was part of this pre-eminence experimentation, and is still just as powerful now as when it was first brought out. There are plenty of spells that give you little bits of life here and there, many of which are easily triggered. Cards such as Soul Warden, Soul's Attendant, and Authority of the Consoles gain us life whenever a creature enters the battlefield, something that will be happening most turns, which will help to keep our life totals nice and high whilst we set up our win conditions. Crester's Sunmare, Resplendent Angel, and Regal Bloodlord reward you with creatures at the end of each turn if you gain enough life, and creatures such as Ajani's Pridemate, Bloodthirsty Aerialist, and Twinblade Paladin get bigger with each instance of life gain that they see. You can also draw a shed ton of cards with Dawn of Hope, Well of Lost Dreams, and Drogskull Reaver, allowing you to keep your hand fully stocked with threats and removal. Defiant Bloodlord, Epicure of Blood, and Sanguine Bond all have the delightful effect of draining our opponents each time you gain any life, which will literally be every 2 seconds in this deck. We can even turn this into a cheeky infinite combo by throwing Exquisite Blood into the mixture, trapping our opponents into a loop of gaining and losing life until everyone else has been fully drained of both their life total and their desire to play against this deck ever again. But everyone knows that life gain alone doesn't win the game. So for win conditions, look no further than our previous top 5 video. Felidar Sovereign and Test of Endurance just seem completely unfair in this deck, as does Aetherflux Reservoir. 50 life is simple pocket change to Alluro to laser someone from orbit. Just sit there with the Reservoir on the table like a primed nuke, and use it as a friendly reminder that the next person to mess with you gets one punched out of the game. With so many synergies and win conditions, and an abundance of different cards to abuse in Esper colours, Alluro is undoubtedly one of the most powerful commanders in this colour combination. In fact, he's only beaten by our number 1 pick, which is...
Number 1.
When I was a kid, one of my favorite cartoon heroes was none other than Batman. Why? Because he was mostly just a normal man with no superpowers, but with nothing more than prep time and his trusty utilities, he could control any situation and defeat any foe. This general very much mirrors those qualities, as by himself he isn't much, but as most players have discovered, with a few turns and a few utilities, he easily becomes one of the toughest commanders in the game. Of course, I'm talking about Zur the Enchanter. Zur is a 1/4 flying legendary human wizard with the casting cost of 1 generic and the colors of Esper. He also carries the following effect. Whenever Zur the Enchanter attacks, you may search your library for an enchantment card, converted mana cost 3 or less, and put it onto the battlefield. If you do, shuffle your library. If you look up the term shenanigans in the dictionary, you'll definitely find a picture of Zur. Here's why. Does your opponent have a permanent in play that hurts your strategy? No problem. Just attack and search up cards like Oblivion Ring, Grasp of Fate, or Detention Sphere to remove any hindrance in your way. You want to keep your draw power high? Easy peasy. Dial 1-800-ZUR attacks, and cards like Necropotence, Rhystic Study, and Phyrexian Arena are a simple call away. But what really makes this general special is its near absolute field control. On top of running a decent amount of counter spells to put a stop to anything you try to do, it also has a large number of other ways to disrupt and slow you down. If I named every card in question, well, we'd probably be here until the 2020 precons drop. So I'll just name you a few of those cards that you would love to play against. Of course, I'm using air quotes when I say love. Stasis, Aura of Silence, Rule of Law, Rest in Peace, Nevermore, Blind Obedience, Ghostly Prison. And just to make it hard to get rid of those things, how about Greater Auramancy? Gosh, doesn't that sound like fun? Hey, at least it's not Infect, right? Zur, like the Dark Knight, can also take advantage of armor, or in this case, auras, to turn them into an unstoppable one-man army, such as Battle Mastery, Ethereal Armor, Daybreak Coronet, Steel of the Godhead, Diplomatic Immunity, and Phyresis. Sorry, a little under the weather. And the craziest part is, even if you manage to get rid of some of the enchantments, cards like Replenish, Open the Vaults, and Sun Titan will be there to start the fun all over again. It's due to these top-tier levels of shenanigans that we've named Zur the Enchanter our number 1 Esper commander. Right, Alex?
And that is the end of our video. Thank you so much to BT Gamenight for joining us today. If you are a fan of Commander content, which I imagine you are, otherwise you wouldn't be watching, then be sure to check out their awesome channel for 1v1 and 4-player gameplay videos. Link is in the description. But now, as always, I want to know what you guys think. Who is your favourite Esper commander, or do you disagree with our order? Whatever your thoughts, be sure to leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. Also make sure to follow us on Twitter @4commander, and check out our Patreon page for sweet rewards. Link is in the description. As always, we'll see you next time.